We are the people who attended one of the thousands of tea parties that took place across the nation on April 15, 2009.
We are the people who did not attend the tea party, but who share the concerns of those who did.
We come from all walks of life, from all levels of income, from all age groups and political mindsets. But when it comes to the frustration we feel about the direction our country is heading, our differences converge and we become one in resolve and purpose.
Prior to the nationwide tea parties, the Department of Homeland Security issued a report warning against the possibility of violence by unnamed right-wing extremists. This report unfairly targeted returning war veterans and anyone who favors limited federal government.
It is unconscionable that Tea Party protesters and returning war veterans are labeled as terrorists by DHS, but the acts that occurred on American soil by foreign enemies on 9/11 are referred to as man-caused disasters.
According to Fox News, Homeland Security spokeswoman Sarah Kubin defended the report by stating, DHS has no specific information that domestic right-wing terrorists are currently planning acts of violence, but right-wing extremists may be gaining new recruitments by playing on their fears about several emerging issues.
Our right to voice the concerns we have has been marginalized by the very people who are supposed to represent we the people. Our frustrations are not unfounded, for it is your words, Mr. President, or the words of your administration and members of Congress that disturb us the most.
Tomorrow is tax day, and a number of conservative groups are organizing these so-called tea parties across the country. They're meant to be grassroots uprising revolts against the administration's policy so far. Is the President aware that these are going on? Do you have any reaction to these?
I don't know if the President's aware of the events.
How could you, the President of the United States, not be aware of the grievances of hundreds of thousands of Americans with nationwide protests to the direction your current administration is taking our great nation? A statement like this, made by your press secretary one day prior to the tea parties, leaves we, the people, to believe that you are out of touch with the great number of the people you serve.
The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, ridiculed and rebuked the efforts of men, women, and children, mostly from the middle-class America, who came together on April 15th to register their opposition to out-of-control spending and government expansion.
Class. This initiative is funded by the high end. We call it AstroTurf. It's not really a grassroots movement. It's AstroTurf by some of the wealthiest people of America to keep the focus on tax cuts for the rich instead of for the great middle class.
The chief concern we have is the threat to our economy, the bailouts that reward irresponsible corporate behavior.
The stimulus package, not read by members of Congress or by you, Mr. President, prior to voting, passing, and signing into law.
Not one member's read this. What happened to the promise that we're going to let the American people see what's in this bill for 48 hours? But nope, we don't have time to do that.
And the 2009 Omnibus Bill, which is riddled with over 8,000 earmarks for pet projects that you yourself promised would not be allowed to happen.
And absolutely we need earmark reform, and when I'm president I will go line by line to make sure that we are not spending money unwisely.
Then earlier this year, we heard from Senator Charles Schumer, Democrat from New York.
And let me say this to all of the chattering class that so much focuses on those little tiny, yes, porky amendments. The American people really don't care.
The only way to pay for this massive amount of spending, well over $1 trillion for the items previously mentioned, is to borrow from foreign governments, print money that will lead to hyperinflation, or pass the debt on to the taxpayers, we the people. Senator Schumer was wrong. We, the American people, do care, as demonstrated by the hundreds of thousands of people who took to the streets on tax day to reclaim the prosperity that rightfully belongs to us and to future generations.
There are issues being considered by your current administration and members of Congress that alarm us. A real concern is the national health care system that could take away our freedom to choose our doctors, restrict treatment for the elderly or chronically ill, and overall lower the quality of health care. for all recipients.
Also, the cap and trade plan to limit carbon emissions by forcing businesses to pay a burdensome tax, which ultimately would be passed along to consumers.
Under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. Even regardless of what I say about whether coal is good or bad, because I'm capping greenhouse gases, coal-powered plants, natural gas, you name it, whatever the plants were, whatever the industry was, they would have to retrofit their operations. That will cost money. They will pass that money on to.
There are many more government policies that we, the people, are concerned about, but we will end with this. Where is the common sense? Where is the genuine concern for the people you represent?
Where is the fairness of a government that seeks to regulate everything from what kind of cars we buy to what our children are taught in school, that seeks to burden us with punitive taxes in order to redistribute our hard-earned dollars to those who just want a handout rather than a hand up?
We, the people, do not want this kind of government intrusion in our private lives.
This is what we told you on April 15, 2009. Are you listening, Mr. President and members of Congress?
Spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy